Welcome to Dizi Dunya. In this video, we dive into the most intense and emotional Turkish dramas where love is tested by fate and force. 1. Kara Sevda. From a middle-class family, Kemal's only aim in life is to make a living and survive. A mine engineering student, he doesn't believe in miracles, especially those related to love. But his world turns upside down when Nihan comes into his monotonous life. From a wealthy family, Nihan lives in an affluent area of the neighborhood. However, she finds herself removed from the values of her environment and distant to her own world. Almost impossible, Kemal and Nihan's love surpasses their differences, and they manage to stay together until Kemal has to leave Istanbul to work in a mine in Zonguldak. Soon after, Nihan marries wealthy businessman Emir Kozkolu, who has been in love with her since childhood. 5 years later, an unexpected mine accident develops a new path for Kemal, one that will take the completely changed Kemal back to Istanbul to confront Nihan, Emir and everything else that made him turn away. 2. Siya Beyaz Aşk. Ferhat, Ibrahim Selikol, is a cold-blooded hitman with a traumatic past. He works for his criminal uncle Namk, Muhammed Yuzana. On the other hand, Asıl Burs Akale is a young and idealistic surgeon who wishes to serve humanity. One day, their paths cross when Asıl operates on a man that Ferhat shot. Due to the surgery, Al unintentionally puts herself in an odd position, which forces her to marry Ferhat to save her life. Stuck in power games, the two who are as different from each other as black and white have to get along. However, Ferhat has too dirty of a life to live an innocent love story. What happens when the woman who saves lives is captured by the man who takes them? A passionate love is about to be born. 3. Sen Anlat Kara Denies. Nefs was a child bride who was sold to a businessman. Captured by her husband, she has become the victim of violence with her son. She failed to escape from her husband, Vedat, and every try resulted in negative results. Nefs struggled to explain every beating of Vedat to her son, trying to convince him that this was just a game. A businessman from the Black Sea region, Mustafa, travels to Istanbul to make new agreements with Vedat, and he brings his family along with him. Mustafa and his family stay in Vedat's house, and Mustafa's young brother Tahir notices that Nefs is affected by domestic violence. Unfortunately, Tahir can't do anything to help Nefs. However, Nefs makes plans again that evening to escape from the house, and she hides in Tahir's van with her son. Her plan is to get out of the van after leaving home and start a new life with her son. But things don't go as planned. Nefs and her son fall asleep in the back of the van. They find themselves in Trabzon, Black Sea. 4. Yoli Kapkani. Halis Aa is the owner of a large jewelry empire and the head of the Korhan family. Even though his son Orhan and oldest grandson Fuat run most of the business, he still makes the most important decisions in the company. His younger grandson Ferit, who is the total opposite of his brother Fuat, is a very irresponsible young bachelor, who just returned from abroad where he went to study. Halis can't take any more of Ferit's recklessness, and he charges his widowed daughter-in-law Ifakat with finding him a nice girl to marry. The news that Halis Aa is looking for a bride for his grandson comes like a bolt from the blue into Kazma's mansion in Gaziantep. Kazma's only hope to get rich are his beautiful daughters, Suna and Seren. After Ifakat sees Suna and decides she is the right girl for Ferit, the family goes to Gaziantep to ask for Suna's hand in marriage. But before the ceremony, Ferit and Seren meet each other without realizing that they are supposed to become brother and sister-in-law, and Ferit is enamored by her. The two sisters' lives change forever when Ferit decides to marry Seren instead of Suna. While Kazma is glad that he has secured his access to a great fortune, Seren will be the new bride in a family full of betrayals, lies and secrets. 5. Kaan Sisakleri. Kaan Sisakleri tells the moving story of Dilan and Baran and the marriage they are forced into to end a blood feud despite the hostility of those around them, igniting a passion that will either blossom into love or bring devastation. Baran must put aside hatred of his enemies to save his brother and overcome the guilt he feels over an attack that killed his mother, as he seeks to bring peace to a family baying for revenge. Destiny comes calling when Baran's uncle reveals he has tracked down those who attacked his parents. But his uncle hides a terrible secret. He is laying a trap and is actually the person behind the attack, hoping to get his hands on the family fortune if Baran were to take revenge and go to prison. When Baran finds himself incapable of killing and his brother volunteers for the task, he realizes the only way to end the feud is to marry the daughter of his nemesis. 6. Senaglama Istanbul. Set in Istanbul, this series revolves around an impossible love. Sarazat, a resilient and hopeful young woman studying in medical school, dreams of a bright future with her beloved Ferhat. However, Their lives are turned upside down when Furhat is wrongfully sentenced to death. In a desperate attempt to save him from the gallows, Sherazat turns to Bayuk Bey, a man known for his dark influence. But there is a catch that she's unaware of: no favor from Bayuk Bey comes without a price. As the unhappy marriage of Bayuk Bey's daughter, Sirin, and his nephew, Kubat, intertwines with his plans to maintain his empire, everyone's lives will be irrevocably changed, and nothing will ever be the same again. 7. The Tailor. Based on a true story. The series depicts the story of Peyami, a famous young tailor, who inherited talent and a successful business from his grandfather. With the death of his grandfather, Peyami brings his biggest secret, his father experiencing mental illness, to the core of his life in Istanbul, and now has to take care of him without a soul finding out the truth. Esvet, running away from an abusive relationship, finds herself in the middle of the secrecy, with her own mystery. 8. Isaret. Orhan is a successful businessman, who was raised in a wealthy, but loveless family along with his twin sister Nihan, younger sister Nursa, and their cold, distant mother of 5. Some time ago, Nihan left to do volunteer work as a doctor in Eritrea, but recently she has been impossible to contact, and her family is worried about her. Orhan decides to go after his twin sister, and bring her back home. While looking for his sister, he comes across Hira, a poor girl living the life of a prisoner at the hands of traffickers. When they find out that Nihan has been poisoned and killed by a local gang, Orhan breaks down. When it emerges that it was actually Hira, who was set up by the gang and poisoned his sister, Orhan hatches an evil revenge plan. He will take Hira home with him, but rather than saving her from life as a prisoner, he will make things even worse for her. Things get even more complicated when a fief tells her son that she actually lied to her children about their father's death for years. Orhan decides to marry Hira to drive his mother crazy. She hates people of lower status, and she's obsessed with pure blood. Will this marriage imprison Firuz into a more unbearable slavery? 9. Yemin. Rayhan is a country girl, humble, kind and caring, who promises to marry the son of old family friend Hikmet, after he reveals a terminal diagnosis. Hikmet is worried about what will become of his family fortune, if left to his frivolous son, and greedy wife, whose only concern is to cement her place among Istanbul's high society. Emir is the son in question, a rebel who prefers to take risks, and fritter away his father's hard-earned money rather than work in the family business. He agrees to the marriage, but with his own promise. He vows to make life miserable for Rayhan, to the extent that she will divorce him, proving to his father that he should be allowed to make his own decisions in life. Yet as the torments begin, Emir starts to question why this innocent girl should suffer while it is his father that he wants to punish. And as he softens, Rayhan sees a gentler side to him, something that she finds impossible to resist. 10. Zemhiri. Two good souls, two kids that carry a family burden. Fate brought them together, fate a sacrifice separated them. Now life owes them an apology. Life wants to give back the love it has stolen from them. But the path is painful and rough. There's a nip in the air, it's winter. Firuz's eyes are blue, her heart is burning. Firuz's father was falsely accused in the elevator accident that resulted with the deaths of 13 construction workers. This incident triggered Firuz, who is righteous and fair. In this road she has taken to save her father. She meets Ayaz, who steals her hopes and leaves without saying goodbye. Shouldering the responsibility of being the man of the house, Ayaz is still yearning for Firuz, who he had to sacrifice for the sake of his mother just when he was about to get married. He's not aware that he's playing a vital role in the accusation of Firuz's father. Firuz is not aware that some goodbyes are caused by desperation, not by lack of love.